70. Pragmatism. Chalcedon Report number 102, February 1974. In the early 1850s, Unitarian Boston was horrified and alarmed because of the great influx of Irish Catholic immigrants, and the result was the triumph of the anti-Catholic, anti-foreigner political group, the Know Nothing Party. In 1854, J.V.C. Smith was the Know Nothing Mayor of Boston. Yet Smith continued to maintain close business relations with Irish Catholic friends, including the Bishop, John Bernard Fitzpatrick, a close personal friend. As an able amateur sculptor, Smith executed a fine bust of the Bishop. Such a relationship between an anti-Catholic mayor and a bishop bothered neither the mayor nor the bishop. The mayor's position was political pragmatism, a belief that success is more important than truth. The Know Nothing Party was simply a popular tool to be used to disrupt the Whig and the Democrat parties. The same motive led some leaders of the anti-Masonic Party to join the Masons secretly, and it led some liberals in the 1920s to join the Ku Klux Klan. It has been said that politics is the art of compromise, of working out a practical means of cooperation between conflicting groups. A principled pragmatism has its place and is by no means immoral. It is simply a recognition that goals can be attained, usually only by degrees. The problem in politics is unprincipled pragmatism, the insistence not only that success is more important than truth, but that success is truth. For modern pragmatism, truth is what works, that which succeeds. Moreover, as the statist schools of the country have steadily trained each generation in turn with a humanistic, relativistic pragmatism, the United States has seen the growth of a purely opportunistic politics to a position of dominance. In virtually every modern state around the world, the same development has taken place in varying degrees. In many European states, for example, lacking the Puritan background of Americans, the development is much further along. After all, the disciples of Machiavelli very early converted European diplomacy and politics into an unprincipled pragmatism. In America, it was the philosopher Charles S. Peirce who, between the Grant and Wilson years, formulated the new American faith and defined it as pragmatism. Peirce defined pragmatism thus: in order to ascertain the meaning of an intellectual conception, one should consider what practical consequences might conceivably result by necessity from the truth of that conception, and the sum of these consequences will constitute the entire meaning of the conception. The meaning is the result. Those who followed Peirce pushed the idea much further. For William James, and especially for John Dewey, truth became instrumental. In Reconstruction in Philosophy, 1920, Dewey wrote, "The hypothesis that works is the true one, and truth is an abstract noun applied to a collection of cases, actual, foreseen and desired, that receive confirmation in their work and consequences." Dewey defined social progress as growth towards the desired community or great society. But he had no standard in terms of which growth could be defined. There was also no objective criterion whereby the great society could be defined to distinguish it from the great tyranny. Truth being what works, anything that succeeds is therefore the truth. Logically, the historically elect people for these pragmatists are those who succeed. Attempts to define this great society in terms of traditional liberalism have failed. No principle of definition other than the pragmatic one is logically tenable. Thus, humanism, by developing pragmatism, has created an anti-humanistic doctrine. If man does not work, If he becomes a polluter and a social roadblock, then away with man. The modern humanistic and pragmatic state has thus become, in the name of man, history's greatest killer of man, by means of wars, slave labour camps, mass murders, and purges. Pragmatism has led also to a new isolationism. In the older America, isolationism meant a respect for the self-determination of other states. People were free to contribute to the cause of freedom anywhere, but the function of the state had to be non-interventionism. Now, the interventionism is pragmatic and Machiavellian, based on the balance of power politics, and the isolationism is personal and immoral. It means doing your own thing and rejecting all moral norms which would bind all men and nations. Unprincipled pragmatism, philosophical pragmatism, erodes the power of judgment. If the truth is what works, everything that works is true. And thus, why get excited about anything? Why condemn anything or defend anything? Where the power of judgment is eroded, the ability to act is also eroded, and a moral paralysis results. No era of history has ever been free of problems, and no era of history has ever been governed by majorities, but only by dedicated minorities who have provided the direction to others. The modern state everywhere has a crisis of authority. Its ability to command the people, apart from brute force, is severely limited. It can, at times, unite the people in hatred of an enemy, but this does not eliminate the underlying disunity. Thus, in a time of great material progress, when men should feel most hopeful, hopelessness is very common, for man does not live by bread alone. In a world without truth or meaning, how can a man define hope? This bankruptcy is most apparent where power is the greatest. For foreign affairs and the CFR to the local supervisors, the pragmatic philosophy of retreat is to vote more money to satisfy the troublemakers in the name of social peace and harmony. But man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. Apart from that king and his every word, we end up with no word at all. The future can have no other foundation than Christ, because there is none